That's right, Town Manager Dave Hine. Just remember, Commander Hendren, on your first show here with the Town of Dyer. Just remember to smile. Good morning, everyone. My name is Bob Starkey. I am the Town Council President at the Town of Dyer. Joining me today on our Town of Dyer show is Town Manager Dave Hine and Detective Commander Shane Hendren on his first appearance on our show. This is recorded live on Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025. You know, at our last town council meeting, we approved another year contract, and we found the value in doing this show, that it was another outlet for us to get our information out to Dyer residents, to the surrounding communities. So we will be with you for another year here at WJOB, working with their staff. You can now watch us live on YouTube, and there's a running chat section on YouTube. You can listen to current and past episodes on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Obviously, you can listen to us on WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM on the fourth Wednesday of every month at 8:30 in the morning. I also want to remind everyone, and especially some of the business owners in Dyer, to stay tuned for some information coming out about some opportunities to sponsor the show. It's a great opportunity for us to talk about your business in town. And speaking of town, we do have some opportunities for employment or volunteering with the town. We are currently seeking a wastewater water operator with Public Works. Commander Hendren, if you want to talk for a second about, I think we're still looking for a police officer. Can you tell me the type of people we're looking for that?
So we are really excited. As of Monday, we have 4 new recruits who are going to be attending the Northwest Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. But we still do have 1 vacancy, and we are looking for young, energetic people who are excited to go out and police our community. We are really lucky in the town of Dyer because our citizens support us 100%. And so being the police in the town of Dyer allows you to work in a community where the citizens support you, and you never have to worry about driving down the street and having somebody yell at you or say something bad at you. Our community supports us 100%.
We really do. We are... out of the 569 municipalities in the state of Indiana, we are ranked number 7 for the safest community. And I often say, and sometimes I get some slack for this, and I don't even necessarily know that I apologize. We are geographically challenged with where we are at between bordering Illinois and some of the challenges that are across the border. We are right there with Route 30 cutting our town in half. And the Dyer Police Department just does an outstanding job. Again, out of 569 municipalities in the entire state, this last year we were ranked number 7 for safest in the entire state. And I think that really is, that's not only the police department, but that's our residents, that's our business owners. Everybody's watching, everybody's back. And so, like Commander Hendren said, if you're interested, come on out. Fill out an application, and let's see if Dyer's the place for you. We also have some volunteer opportunities with the Dyer Historic Society Volunteer Committee. If you've got a passion for local history, whether it's Dyer, Lake County, reach out to the town. We've got our email out there. It's info@townofdyer.com. Send us an email. We'll go ahead and get you hooked up with those folks here. Next, I want to throw it to our town manager, Dave Hine. He's got some updates from the town newsletter that he's going to talk about. And what do you have for us this month, Dave?
Sure. One of the great assets of communication is the newsletter. Every resident and business gets it, so take the time to thumb through it. This month, we have a couple important ones I want to notify on here. Is SurfNet's coming through town. It's a additional fiber network that has got the proper permits and channels to come through town, and they're going to be putting installing fiber internet services across the town of Dyer. They're accessing utility easements in the right-of-ways, and they're eventually going to be bringing this to every property in town. So for a little bit, when it's in front of your house, it is an inconvenience. We've gotten a handful of calls saying, hey, these people are on my property, get them off my property. We reassure them that they, for the most part, 99% of the time, they are in the easement and they are correctly there. So they are responsible for restoring the property to the prior condition. We ask that you have some patience with it and just notify the town hall if you have any problems with SurfNet internet service there. So,
and a lot of these utilities, they have easements, whether it's in the front yard or the backyard. I know in some of the older established subdivisions like Northgate, you've got all the properties about look the same. They all have fences, but that back strip of what fenced in on what you're going to consider as your property is a utility easement. I know for us, about 10 feet in from our fence line, we have a utility easement where we have some AT&T copper lines. We have NIPSCO's gas lines. And at any time, if they need to get back there for some reason, it is their easement. They can.
You're taking a gamble if you're putting something on the easement.
Yes, sheds or pools or any of that stuff. There is a bit of a gamble with that, but yeah, that is something that we have seen a lot on social media. Have gotten a lot of calls. Surf Internet, they are allowed to be out there. They're doing what they want to do. Weird residents, if you do have an issue, give us a call. We can help you out as much as we can with that. And,
there's a couple easements on the side of houses too that you're not aware of until you look at the actual documents and you get surprised on it. So.
And one of an easy, if it's not something that you're used to, a good way to look at it is if you look in your backyard or your neighbor's backyards around and you see they call them a pedestal or a box that comes out of the ground, odds are that's a pretty good indication that somewhere in there is some underground lines that are some other companies.
Yep. You said earlier about what a great town we're in. I think our number one asset is the employees. I think every employee set from parks to public works, police, fire, town hall, clerk's office, they're the front line. They deal with the residents and they set that tone initially. But I think the number two is got to be the residents. They are just great for us. Even talking to these on some utility complaints on this one, once you start talking to each other, you realize we're both in this for the same thing. We want to restore your yard and make sure everything's fine. So really good group of residents that we have.
One of the things that I like to tout is that for the fourth year in a row, and I will probably say this every show until next year, when knock on wood, I can say 5 years in a row. But for 4 years in a row, we've been voted by the people as the best place to live in the region. A couple other updates we have is I believe it's this Saturday, July 26th. The fire department is having a bags tournament from 3 p.m. to dusk at Pheasant Hills.
It supports Project Fire Buddies.
Yes. Yep. We have a National Night Out is Tuesday, August 5th, and we're going to be spending the last half of this show talking with Commander Hendren about that. That'll be August 5th from 5 to 9 at Central Park. Dave, if you want to talk about some of the road work that's begun. Some neighborhoods, they've already got their pavement. Some are in the middle of it. What do we have?
Yeah, so we're starting the resurfacing project here, and so any resident that is affected would have gotten a notice to have cars off the street. But we'll give that list on the radio here so that people know. If you're on Matson, Astor, Dalemont, Kyleman, or Fagan, you're getting resurfaced soon. So please abide by the notices you got and work with the crews out there. It should be a pretty quick process, and at the end you get a real nice product. And the curb appeal is just amazing.
That's going to last for years. And we have, I've been in this job now for 5 or 6 years, and the one thing I will say is nobody has issues with roads until the roads are getting fixed, and then everybody has issues with them. And so we appreciate everyone, the patience that you have. It's not a quick process. We go out there and we're replacing curbs, driveway aprons, sidewalks, replacing that with concrete, which takes a week or two to cure before you can drive on it. That can be frustrating, and then it's the milling and the paving of the road. So, I mean, this is a process where if you see us coming down your street to redo it, it's going to be a month, maybe more, maybe a little less, but it's not going to be a 1 or 2 day thing. But at the end, you're going to have a product that is what we're hoping is going to last 10, 15, 20 years. It increases the curb appeal and the value of the entire neighborhood. So,
and I think it's safe to say at this point too that for the residents out there, we don't just throw a dart at the wall. We have an engineering firm that does a Paiser system that rates it, and we take the worst streets and get them resurfaced. Some of them need full reconstruction, so they may be pushed off a year because that's a very in-depth project. But these are all based on a Paiser rating, which tells us what roads are in worst condition.
right.
And we are a very aggressive town on roads. We really take advantage of the $1.5 million grant that we get from INDOT, in addition to applying our local funds to make streets a priority.
I want to take a shift here, and I want to go to Commander Hendren. One of the nice events that we have in town is National Night Out, and it has grown from, I don't know how long we've been doing that. You can get that, but at some point it was just hey, everybody's supporting the cops. Let's go ahead and turn the porch lights on, and just as a kind of a tip of the hat to the officers as they're driving around that they live in a community that supports them. To now we have, I think it's one of the best National Night Out events, certainly for the Dyer community. Shane, I'm just gonna give it to you and tell us, what is National Night Out, what's it about, and what can our residents look forward to?
Thanks, Bob. So, yeah, like you had mentioned, this is my first time on the show, and so I had made some notes here about what the internet said National Night Out is. But I got to tell you, this morning I listened to a podcast, and I was lucky enough to hear it recorded live in Chicago. And the podcast reminded me what National Night actually is all about, and it's about leadership. Very similar what we're doing here today with this show, and you two as administrative leaders at the town. The days of administrative leaders sitting behind a desk and not being available to the public that doesn't exist anymore. No different than the days of police officers, police administrators sitting at the PD or driving down the street with tinted windows. That's not how in Dyer we've ever policed, or policing nationwide really exists. So National Night Out is about our officers, whether it's the chief or the youngest officer, being leaders in the community, because they all are. And every time they interact with a citizen, they're making a leadership decision about how that citizen's day, week, month, or year, or sometimes even life is going to continue. So putting those leaders all in a park in one day where the community can come interact with them, that leadership decision is what National Night Out is all about. Being able to walk up to the chief of police and interact with him and ask him generally anything you want, walk up to a police commander, or walk up to our brand new officer who's been here for 2 weeks and ask them about their experience, their background, their training. That's really what we're trying to achieve with National Night Out. And with that, we've been doing it over 30 years, so we've gotten pretty good at it. And like you said, it has grown. We have over 50 different booths now, and those booths represent businesses, organizations, churches. They're all there free of charge. We, as the police department and the town of Dyer, charges them nothing. And in return, we ask them to provide things to our guests for free of charge. Sometimes that might be as little as a 10% coupon off at their business. Dairy Queen goes through 1,000 dilly bars. They have done that for us for 2 decades.
I will say, I think they go through 998, as I believe Town Manager Hines swipes 2 before the event starts.
2?
2.
I'll claim 2.
Rob's Meats, for probably 2 decades, has provided us with the meat for all the event. So we have our police officers, this year will be grilling hot dogs. Ace Hardware and Jewel Osco provide us with water, watermelon, and a bag of chips. So everyone who comes through can get a meal of a hot dog, a bag of chips, some watermelon, and a bottle of water. But the businesses hand out, and that's what really makes the event, is the leadership of the police officers, but then the businesses and organizations, churches being there and supporting the residents, supporting us as the police department, giving from their business for free so that everyone can come together in a crime-free initiative to meet the police department, to meet the business owners. And we usually get about 1,500 residents that come through between 5 o'clock and 9 o'clock, and it is packed. We do a canine demo where Sergeant Antonucci and his canine Rocco will do a bite demonstration and a sniff demonstration. The Lake County helicopter lands, and this is the second year in a row. We're extremely excited. CN Railroad is going to have their 6-foot replica of a locomotive there to be giving kids and parents rides throughout the park, really promoting railway safety. As you guys know, we have a lot of railway in the town of Dyer, and some of that railway is at very sensitive areas next to Kaler, next to the Little League fields. So it's extremely important that we promote railway safety throughout the summer and with school coming up here next month.
I believe that's Obi, correct?
Yes, little Obi.
And you're very fortunate to have Obi because he's in high demand.
He is, especially 2 years in a row.
Good job.
We're very fortunate with that. So National Night overall has been around since the 80s. When it first started up, there were only about 20 states that participated. Now every state in the entire country, even Alaska and Hawaii, have multiple police agencies that are represented. We are one of 61 in the state of Indiana. So from all the way up here in Lake County to all the way down to the river, there's 61 police departments that all do it on the first Tuesday of August. And so it's pretty cool seeing everybody do their own thing. I know Sergeant Greist was on here from Munster and talking about what they do, and it's good for their community. It's different than what we do. And that's one of the great things about this is it gives everybody the opportunity to really highlight what their community has to offer for their residents and get everyone out in this crime-free initiative, talk to the police officers, talk to the firemen, meet your first responders. So many times we as officers are pretty much all the time responding to somebody's house, somebody's car, somebody's business for an emergency. And so there's never really that opportunity to interact as humans and to ask us questions that maybe aren't involved in that traffic stop or that 911 call. And that's what this event is really all about. And so we encourage our residents to come out and approach us and talk to us and interact with us. And we have a bunch of giveaways as well. Dyer Construction donated a good chunk of money towards this. And so we'll have a lot of giveaways for the residents.
Got a lot of new residents, so if you're sitting at home and just don't know what National Night Out's about, you moved in from a community that didn't have one, I truly encourage you to take the trip out to the park. For the families, it's like going to a fest where you don't need to bring a pocket full of money. So make the trip out there. You'll see your neighbors. You'll see a lot of people from the community, and it's really a stress-free environment to see everybody that's in and around you.
And I think the community is the key word there. We go every year. It's an amazing time. But the list, and I'm sure it's not an exhaustive list, but as you're sitting here for the last 5 minutes, all of these Dyer staples from Rob's to Jewel to Ace Hardware to Dyer Construction, the community really gets together to pull this off. And when you go there, you'll go and you could get a hot dog and chips. And as you go around and look at all the different vendors, they're giving out everything from Frisbees and popcorn and school supplies and just all sorts of things. Really just to not even to promote their business, but to promote the community of Dyer. And it really is one of the best events that the Dyer Police Department and the Dyer FOP put on for all of us every year. And I will say, you mentioned we've got the Lake County Sheriff's helicopter is going to be there. Dyer we've got our fire trucks there and our police cars there. It is such a good opportunity for the kids to get an up close. You can, it's like a touch a truck. You can go, you can take a look at it, you can climb up in them. Because again, so often when our first responders are interacting with the community, it's for a reason. And that's typically not a time where folks are going to say, oh, let me check out the fire truck. It's an emergency situation, and you guys are trained to be there and do a job. So this is a really good opportunity, like you said, for everyone to take an evening. Everybody gets humanized, and these are the pieces of equipment that we use to help you. These are the people who help you in town and in the community, and I just think it's a fantastic event. Again, this is going to be on Tuesday night, August 5th, from 5 until 9. Dyer PD will be out there, Dyer Fire Department, Dyer Public Works, the Parks Department, countless.
That beautiful Central Park.
Yes.
Right off Calumet Avenue. You can see all the progress out there as well.
And historically, we would bounce back and forth between Pheasant Hills and Northgate. And so that's the wonderful thing about Central Park in the center of the town. We don't have to, we can keep the same layout. Everybody knows what to expect. We don't have to change it up for both different parks. I wanted to also mention Card My Yard Munster is going to provide all the decorations for us. That's a donation that we got as well. And we are still accepting vendors to come out all the way up until next Friday. You can email me at shendron, SHENDRON, at townofdyer.com. I will get you the registration sheet. You come to the police department. You can call the police department. We'll be accepting vendors, whether you're a business, an organization, a church, and even if you're outside of Dyer. We have several towns around us that don't do National Nights Out, and those businesses our residents patronize, and so they want to support us as well. So you don't have to be a Dyer business, organization, or church. We would love to have anybody come out.
You know, speaking of Central Park here, I'm going to shift away from National Night Out for just a second. At our last the Town Council and Redevelopment Commission meeting, we went ahead and we heard a report from JMA, our architect, on some of the big things that are happening in Central Park. Dave, if you want to speak a little bit about that process, about what we did and really what we started
Sure.
here, and what residents can look forward to in the next 12 months.
Sure, great. The council and the RDC came together with a project that I think will complete Central Park here. It's the event community center and the amphitheater band shell kind of project. We're at the phase now where architect has brought the final documents to the council. They've approved them, and it's going out for bid here in the next week or so. We're hoping for an aggressive schedule that those bids come in August, construction to start shortly thereafter. We're on a timeline where we'd like to get by next fest, June of 26, we'd like to have a building up there that we're using for community activities, and also the band shell that now our bands will be standing on. So
some of these pictures were available. They're on social media. Excuse me. You can find them on social media. They were at the Dyer Summerfest. This band shell is going to be incredible. We took a tour. It is modeled somewhat after the one in Fox Point and Lansing. So for any of our listeners or viewers who've been out to Fox Point, that gives you a rough idea. It's not going to look exactly the same. We're going to have a little bit bigger on the back. We're going to have some extra concession areas that will help supplement the concession stands for the northern ball fields there. And then our Special Event Center, Community Center, we are working on exactly how we're going to be branding this. If we end up going with the full size, it'll be about 14,000 square feet. About half or a third of the building will house a special event center that will be able to be rented by the public. That'll hold about 250 people. And the back half of it will be community meeting rooms and classrooms. And it's really going to be an amenity that most of our area beyond Dyer doesn't have. So this is going to be a regional draw for some folks. And Dave's right. If National Night Out is one of our big events, the biggest event we have is Summerfest, and that's our goal for next year, is to have this band shell up and running for the.
It'll also house some of the glass doors that can open up there, and we asked for a scenic photogenic area where our people can start taking some pictures here at Central Park than having to travel to other towns. That was one of our big pet peeves, is that our local kids shouldn't have to drive to a different town to take a prom picture.
But enough about Munster, Indiana. That's right, I said it. But no, we really do have some really beautiful green spaces out there. We have some ponds and some retention out there that we were mainly using for function, and then we realized that, these can have the aesthetic that will again be a draw for folks. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. These are some water features and greenscaping that's already there. Fountains, yes. Where I am a big fan of fountains, and so you can expect to see a fountain somewhere in Central Park.
if wrap up the whole idea there of Central Park was that we wanted to make it just not a softball facility or a sporting facility for Central Park. We wanted someone to be able to come to Central Park and enjoy it for all walks of life. So now you've added softball feature, which is amazing. Last week's tournament was so well attended. That's what the driving force for economics is going to be on Calumet Avenue. Now you have the community event center where you can have other activities there. You have the band now you're going on. You have soccer out there. You have the whole south end of the park. Disc golf is starting. Central Park is going to be one for all. So
and for those folks that may be new to Dyer or thinking about coming to Dyer to take a visit, Dyer doesn't have a downtown area like Griffith or Crown Point. We don't have a square. So 20-some years ago, they decided to buy this central plot of land to make it a hub of community activity. And so we are just as happy and as proud as could be that we're finally putting this vision into motion and that we are making it a central park for the entire town.
I think you can say tune in next month, too, and we have some major developments going on Calumet Avenue that we can probably highlight in next month's show.
We do, and I know we've got a couple meetings with we've had a few with the town council. We've got some plan commission meetings. I think that we're going to have some exciting news that we'll be able to share out with some folks. As we wrap up here again, this is the Town of Dyer Show here on WJOB. This is recorded on Wednesday, July 23rd. At the bottom of the screen, if you're watching on YouTube, if you have a question that you'd like us to answer on a future show or something that you're interested in, maybe not answered on the show, but you just have a question, send us an email at info@townofdyer.com. I want to start saving the last minute or two of this show to answer some frequently asked questions and to let folks know that, look, all three of us are on social media. We all have positions with the town, but just posting on social media doesn't mean it's going to get the urgent attention that it needs. Oftentimes we'll find folks will post something on social media, and it's a question, it's a concern, it's a comment, it's a complaint, and one of the comments inevitably is, well, did you call the town? Did you call Public Works? Did you call the parks? And they say, well, no. And I got to tell folks, social media is fine. It is what it is. But if you do have, again, a question, a concern, a comment, or complaint, the quickest way to get that resolved is just call the town, 219-865-1608.
6108.
6108. Give the town a call, and we'll get on it. That's what we do have. I would put our town staff up against all the other town staffs. We have some amazing employees who are so dedicated to the town of Dyer. And so if you're out walking and there's a huge, heaving crack in the sidewalk, post on social media that gets attention. But if you want it acted on quickly, give the town a call. We will come out there. We have an entire staff that, as soon as we get a call, they're doing research, they're looking into it. And so I just encourage everyone to, if you've got any questions, give us a call, send us an email.
If I could, on the point of employees you had mentioned earlier, we are hiring. We are looking for at least one more police officer. We will have applications available at National Night Out. You have to be 21 years old at age of appointment, but you can take the application at 20 years old. If you go on our Facebook page, we have a QR code. You can scan that. You can come to the police department. You can call us or you can email me. We have lots of different ways to get that application. But please, if you're 20 years old and you're interested at all in law enforcement, we have one of the best packages that anybody has in the county or surrounding area, and it is an amazing community to work in. So we would love to have applications to join not just the police department, but the entire town of wonderful employees.
That's a great point. And you know what? If you're on the thinking about yes or no, come out to National Night Out, meet all the officers.
That's a great point.
See what the department's about, see the different personalities out there. That's a great idea.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the Town of Dyer Show. This is our July 23rd, 2025. Come on out on Tuesday, August 5th to Central Park to our National Night Out, and we will see you next month. Have a great day.